Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Sin and Tonic. Today's story is that of Conrad Henry Roy III. That is a fantastic name, and this is a truly tragic story. So let's go. Sin and Tonic! Look at this beauty. Got my tankard out again, and yeah, it's glorious. I've put all the bits and bobs in as well today, make it look special. What's new? Quickly, let's have a little catchy-uppy. Yeah, the ear. The ear is still a problem. It's still a problem. So I have finished the antibiotics. I can still feel something going on, but I feel better in myself. And I think I'm going to call the doctors and get, I don't know. Because of COVID, they don't want to see people at the doctor's surgery here who were. So they didn't look in my ear. It was all done over the telephone. So this time I'm gonna call them tomorrow and say, look, mate, you need to have a gander in there because I think something is still not right. And I'm still dizzy, but guess what? Gin will help. I'm just getting used to it though, so I just live my life wibbly wobbly. It is weird. 4 to 6 weeks, they said, until the old wibbly wobblies goes away. Anywho, today's case, the reason that I picked this case, why do I feel wet on the arm? I feel wet on my arm there. The reason that I picked it is because we were talking about accents in the comments of one of the videos, and I found a video on YouTube of all the accents in America. Of all the 50, is there 50 states? Well, anyway, there were 50 accents. Some were similar, but some really stood out, and one of those was Massachusetts. Now, it's such a fantastic accent. I just can't do it. I've been trying to practice. I can't get close. Cannot get close. It's really, really stressed me out. So I'm not even going to try. I'll keep practicing, and then one day I'll do a cheeky video and I'll be like, guess what? And I'll do the accent and you'll be like, oh wow, it's like she's from there. Anyway, so because I had that conversation, I thought, let's do a case from Massachusetts. This case is in Boston, Massachusetts. And the reason that I also picked it, sorry, do you need to know the story behind it? Who knows? I don't care. I'm going to tell you because I've missed you, and why not chat? But I remember this case. I remember it. I remember reading about it just like in the newspaper or whatever, just randomly. And just, it's really intriguing. Let's just get into it. Okay. Conrad Henry Roy III. I just love that. He was born on the 18th of September in 1995. Sorry, I'm aware that I'm using my hands. It's because I haven't filmed a video for what feels like 10 years. It's only been 2 weeks. Conrad was a really likeable chap. He was a bit cheeky, but he did very well at school. So he was on the honour roll. Someone fill me in, what is that? But he was on that, and he was into sports as well. Does that make him a jock? I don't know, educate me. I don't know, educate me. So, yeah, so he was, but I thought maybe they weren't smart. I don't know. Anyway, so he played baseball and he ran track. He would go on to graduate top of his class. It just sounds like he was pretty good at everything. In the summertime, he would work with his grandfather, his father, and his uncle for the family marine salvage business. So he would do that in the summer as well. So he was a busy boy. And it just all sounds really wholesome and pleasant and nice. When he was 18, he got his captain's licence, and he got that through going to night school. So he sounds like he was quite a dedicated, hard-working lad. Heartbreakingly, and maybe he was putting a lot of pressure on himself. That's just speculation though on my part. It sounds like he held himself to a high standard maybe. He suffered with quite bad anxiety and depression. And even though he sought medical and professional help for that, it was severe, he didn't improve. So he tried his best to get help, but he didn't get any better. when he was only 17, he really sadly took an overdose of paracetamol. And he happened to be online at the time with a friend, and she called an ambulance and sent an ambulance to his house. He told her what he'd done, and he was saved. Oh, the itches. And the leg is itchy too. After this, in 2014, Conrad would start making video diaries to help, to talk about his feelings and emotions. It can be cathartic. I watched some of the videos that he'd made, his diary entries, and it's just, you can really see the turmoil in his eyes and his despair, really. He's really unhappy, and it's sad to watch, actually. It's sad to see him. He just felt like he couldn't be himself around people. Really strong, social anxiety. On a trip to Florida to visit family, Conrad would meet somebody called Michelle Carter. Now, she was a year younger than Conrad. She also had her own struggles. She was quite the troubled soul. So was Conrad. So she would self-harm, she had eating disorders, and she had a lot of counselling to help her through. She really struggled with life. She had also been on medication since she was 14 years old. She met Conrad when she was 15, and he was 16 at the time. And they realised that even though they were both visiting family in Florida, what are the chances? This happens quite a lot, doesn't it? It's that, oh wow, small world and all that business. That happens a lot to me. It's eerie. Anyway, I digress. What was I saying? They got talking and they realised that even though they were there in Florida visiting family, weird, they both lived in Massachusetts. Oh my God. So she lived like an hour north of Conrad. If that was in England and you lived in the same town, you'd be like 5 minutes away from each other. So I was like, what? Whoa, an hour? Okay, it's a big country, isn't it? So they still an hour away. So they sort of formed a relationship, basically. But this relationship would end up being mainly online and through text messages. An hour's a long way to go when you're like a teenager, isn't it? They did meet a few times, but not often. Their relationship, it was deep, it was serious, and it was mainly online. Do excuse the hair, because I haven't been wanting to wash my hair too much because of my ear. So it might be a bit of a grease ball. But who, you can't care, can you? Not every day is a good hair day. And that should be on a t-shirt. I would wear that. Like I said, their relationship was intense. They were a support network for each other. And at first, it sounds very lovely because they were very supportive of each other. Very. This is why it gets really weird. They would have incredibly deep conversations about their struggles. And over the course of knowing each other, Michelle would actually talk Conrad down from committing suicide a number of times. This was over a 2-year period, and she would beg him to get professional help, and she would stay on the phone with him if he was going to try and take his own life. It was very intense. There's no other word for it. There was no wonder that Michelle was worried, because he would tell her on numerous occasions that he would definitely end up committing suicide one day, and excuse me, that he had already planned just loads of different ways to do it and to commit suicide. Just very troubled boy. And he is a boy. He's not even 18, 21, he's just very young. In the summer of 2014, things got pretty bad for Conrad. He had learnt how to sort of disguise his depression and his struggles from his closest family members and friends. And so nobody really knew the true extent other than Michelle, who he would completely confide in. But his friends and family around him, they didn't realise how bad he really was. On the 12th of July, Conrad would go for a walk along the beach with his family, with his mum and his sisters, and they would have ice cream, and they would say that he was in good spirits. He was on his phone like most of the day, but his family, that was so normal for him. He was always texting on his phone or talking on his phone to Michelle. So that was completely normal, nothing untoward there, no red flag. The heck? When they got back home, Conrad said to his mum that he was going out in his truck and he wouldn't be home for dinner. He was going to meet a friend. And just so sadly, that was the last time that his mother ever saw Conrad alive. In the morning, Conrad's mum woke up and she found that Conrad hadn't even come home at all that night. So this was really, really unlike him, and she called the police because she just knew that that was not like him, and she reported him missing. And it wasn't that long until Conrad's body was actually found. He was found in his truck in a Kmart car park. He had taken his own life at just 18 by setting up a generator or like engine thing and basically he'd killed himself with carbon monoxide inside his truck. It was quickly determined that he would have been dead within 20 minutes. Conrad's heartbroken, distraught family, they would find not just one suicide note, but a few, and they were all personalised. So his mum, his dad, and there was one for Michelle. And this is when the family kind of learnt the true extent of their relationship and their friendship and how much of a support Michelle had been over the last 2 years to Conrad. The family had never met Michelle. They didn't know her, never met her, and they were about to, because this is where it just gets weird, really, to be honest. Michelle would attend the funeral, and at first, the family were really comforted to know that through those years of severe depression and anxiety, that he had somebody that really supported him, and that was a comfort to them, a comfort to know that somebody had his back and that he had somebody to talk to, because it would be horrible to think that somebody just feels so lonely and they're going through that completely alone. So this was that sounds horrific, doesn't it? I can't. Please don't be dogs killing each other or something. There's a little dog and a very big dog. Could you hear it? Oh, I think someone took them in. Naughty. Anyway, things then took a really weird turn. First of all, Michelle asked the family if she could have some of Conrad's possessions, like something to remember him by or a few things. And they were a little bit like, what, like they didn't know this girl. Then she got really wacky. She asked if she could have some of Conrad's ashes. What the fuck? No. You don't do that. You don't ask, no. Also, that thing though, the frontal lobe or whatever, it's not developed, is it? And she was only like 17 or whatever. But you don't do that. And also, from the perspective of his family, who are you? Like, they don't know who you are. Sod off. And then Michelle decides to set up a sort of charity baseball event in honour of Conrad, but she does not involve any of Conrad's family. She just does it, and it's just, I mean, that is a nice thing to do. She did have an online relationship with Conrad for years, for a number of years. Teenagers, there's a lot of emotion and, love. You can't discredit that. Can't discredit their feelings for each other. Although Conrad couldn't speak for himself, he wasn't there, but it would seem that they had a very close, intense relationship and that she was important to him. Anyway, it's weird, the baseball game situation. I just thought it was a bit icky. So at this point, you're like, what the hell, Sophie? Just a straightforward suicide. What a way to say that. You know what I mean? Just cut and dry suicide. Well, a very thorough police officer, thank the heavens, he decided to check Conrad's phone records. Good man. And what he found was, well, disturbing to say the least. So about 10 days before Conrad took his life on the 2nd of July, he received some really worrying and shocking and, disturbing text messages from none other than Michelle frickin' Carter. By the way, I've shared a picture, I think, already, probably at this point. Doesn't she look like... what? I don't know. I do so many voices in my head that I just, honestly, at some point I'm just going to wake up and just be like, I don't even know. What was I saying? Doesn't she look like she's out of a film or something? She just looks like, especially, I'll share the picture now of what I mean. Like, a character out of a film. An evil one, but she does. And I just, It's just a bit eerie. So, correct me if I'm wrong, do you not think she looks... Also, I cannot put my finger on it, but she looks like someone. Oh, that's a bit horrible, isn't it? Because you wouldn't want to look like somebody that isn't a very nice person. I can't put my finger on it. Let me know what you reckon. I can't think of who it is. Anyway, we'll have to move on. These text messages were just horrendous, basically, and such a contrast to these 2 previous years where this girl has been talking him down from suicide and being his emotional rock and support. I want to know what happened in her brain, because I just can't. I don't understand this one. Anyway, these text messages would be things basically goading him on to kill himself. Go on, do it. But just not easing off. She said, why don't you just take yourself off somewhere, quiet and private, and just overdose like you did last time, but just don't tell anyone about it this time? You know, just a real tone of stroppy madam about it. Like, well, if you're going to do it, just do it. She'd say things to him like, there's no turning back now. You've said you're going to do it, you have to do it. And then he decided that he was going to overdose on sleeping pills, and he decided not to do that. And this really, really pissed her off. Again, who are you? Oh, angry Sophie is coming out to play. At one point, she said, quote, I knew you weren't going to try hard. I feel like such an idiot. This girl had texted him, Conrad, over 40 times, asking him, are you going to do it? When are you going to do it? Just asking him when he was going to commit suicide. Over 40 times. His main concern was that his family would be upset. And she said, quote, I want to put my fist through something right now. She said, everyone will be sad for a while, but then they will get over it. Oh. He was also concerned about being found too early. So it sounds like he just didn't want to do it. And she was going for it, like, come on, do it, just really pestering at him. She had all of the answers. So every block that he put up, every problem that he had or concern that he had, she just was straight in there with an answer. She was Googling and researching for him how to get over all these obstacles, you know, in killing himself. She researched the method of suicide that he used. He wasn't convinced that that would work, and she said, no, it definitely will. She also said about how important it would be to make sure he got his timing right so that nobody would find him. So she had a good old research. She was all in. I have some more quotes for you because there's nothing better than her words, really, to get across how evil she is. In the early hours of the 12th of July, they were texting each other. This is from her. Why haven't you done it yet? You said you were going to do it. I don't get why you aren't. He said he didn't know either. So I guess you aren't going to do it then. All that for nothing. Whoa. Oh, your precious research, love, down the drain. They would text later on. They went to sleep, and then they would text again at about 9 o'clock in the morning. She would say, you'll be free and happy. Time to do it today. She then made him promise that he would do it that day. You can't make this up. They would then discuss where he was going to go and all of this information on that frickin' beach walk where his family, the last day he spent with his family. So when he was on his phone, she was texting him like telling him how to kill himself while they were having ice cream and walking along the beach. What? Makes me angry. We have some more quotes. Not finding a place to go is not an excuse. He then would say, I'm determined. And she would reply, I'm happy to hear that. And then she would write, did you delete the messages? So she knows full well what she's doing. There's no word for her. There's not a word enough. And he did delete the messages, but the police recovered them. Thank God for that police officer, that was like really thorough. And so it would go on. When? Push. That's all she was doing. Just when are you going to do it? Come on. Like goading him on all day. Conrad would arrive at the Kmart car park, say that quick, at about 6:30 p.m. and they would text and then have a phone conversation. It's believed that Conrad died between 7:30 and 8 p.m. that night. Sometimes, when I'm in my little box, my little shed, and I'm talking about these cases and these people, first of all, I hope they don't mind that sometimes I can be a bit silly. Second of all, I think if they can hear, I just always feel like I should just say sorry that the world was so shit and that happened to you. Michelle, the BITCH, she couldn't keep this shut, could she? That's really common, isn't it? I think I'm getting a cold. I sound like Monica from Friends when she's like, oh no, is it Phoebe? No, it's Monica. The prime of love. I sound like that. I'm getting that vibe. No, that is the last thing I freaking need. Thank you. I tell you what, I'll be up this shed snotting, to be honest, for your viewing pleasure. You can't get... This is just crazy. So at about 8 p.m, Michelle texts a friend. She's very text happy, very chat about the whole thing. And she's like, oh my God, I think he's actually done it. I think I was on the phone with him and I heard him moaning. Just very blasé about the whole thing. She's got something wrong with her, isn't she? These messages would continue on. She was messaging somebody called Samantha, a friend, and she would say how guilty she felt. Yeah. She would say that she blamed herself. Really? Okay. And then when she discovered that the police were recovering Conrad's phone, she started to really panic. And she was really worried and upset that his family would think she was horrible. I think they're going to think worse of you than that, love. She would say, Sam, his death is my fault. No shit, Sherlock. Honestly, I could have stopped him. I was on the phone with him and he got out of the car because it was working and he got scared and I fucking told him to go back in. That's just heartbreaking, is it not? That is heartbreaking. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so she was arrested. Twat. Frickin' berry. What? Go away. I don't want to chew, I want to drink. Yum. That's the thing with all the fluffy bits that go in it. Right. Michelle was arrested and then she was charged, I was going to say diagnosed. Crikey. She was charged with involuntary manslaughter. The text messages between Sam and herself, and also between herself and Conrad, they proved that she had a hand in his suicide, especially the one where she said that she made him get back into the car. She told him to get back in the car. It proved that she assisted in his suicide. He would have lived if he'd have gotten out of the car and stayed out of the car, and she made him get back in. I just don't understand this one, guys. I just don't get it. What was it all for attention? Why did she change from this girl that for years as well, for 2 years, seemed really devoted to him? Did she just literally get fed up with him keep saying that he was going to do it, and then she's like, oh, go on then, do it? Even if that was what you were thinking, wouldn't you just stop having anything to do with him? Just be like, oh look, I can't help you. Even people, that happens, doesn't it? People that really love someone walk away from relationships because that person won't stop taking drugs or stop drinking or gambling. People walk away from people that are just determined to hurt themselves, even though they love them. And that happens, doesn't it? But I can't understand this, to go from one extreme of please don't kill yourself and to talking him down on the phone for hours and stuff multiple times over the course of 2 years, to then just being not just, oh, go on then, do it, but properly pushing him and manipulating him. It's very the text messages that they get right in there. You can see it, can't you? I find it fascinating because I don't understand why. Why did she flip and what happened there? And then what, was she always just evil? I don't get it. There was something said that it could have been about attention seeking, because she, after he died, she was very keen to have spotlight on her as his sort of girlfriend, that the dutiful girlfriend, and she'd always tried to help him, and she set up that weird baseball game, and it was all attention seeking. But still, I don't think you would build up to that over 2 years. Surely you would get in there quicker if that was your goal. I don't know. I don't like not knowing. Thank you. She was found guilty on the 16th of June in 2017, and she was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison. It's a really tricky one to have an opinion on, because you're just like, well, she didn't actually, like, bop him on the head or stab him or strangle him or anything. She didn't physically harm him. But she got right in there. I don't know. To make matters worse, on the 6th of February in 2019, her sentence was lowered to 15 months and then 5 years of probation to follow that. So they lowered the sentence. She even tried to appeal the small sentence that she did have on the grounds of her own mental health. Again, she was troubled, but I don't know. They did uphold her sentence, though, the 15 months. And then in January of 2020, she was released. 3 months early, too. I'm going to have to go in a minute and fish out all the frickin' berries of this, because they just squish. This isn't a pleasant drinking experience for me. Michelle will be on probation until 2022. Not all that much longer. And yeah, she has kept a low profile since she's come out of prison, and there's not much information on where she is now and what she's up to and stuff like that. I didn't really care to look too much, to be honest, because I should probably write a book. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me today for another episode of Sin and Tonic. I do hope you can join me next week for a tankard of gin, any colour you like. Pink I would recommend. It's been lovely to be up here talking to you. I haven't felt too woozy, actually. Ooh. Oh, don't do that. Don't jinx it. I'll fall over going down the garden. I shouldn't joke. I'll write a comment and let you know if I did. Just wondering if there's any exciting news or anything to fill you in on now that we're at this point. I don't think anything. I mean, I've sat in a chair basically for 2 weeks. In the beginning, I couldn't move my head too fast or anything. So I got a really stiff neck and stiff shoulders and everything. Because I was just like, really trying not to. Anytime if I'd going like that, I would have been on the floor. Just any movement like that. Issues. I fell into a bush on the way to take the kids to school. I literally walked sideways like that into a freaking bush. People just must have thought I was pissed. It was embarrassing. I fell into a bush twice. 3 times I fell into a bush on the way to the pharmacy to collect my medicine. And when I say fell, I tottled sideways into it. One time I was properly in there though. What am I talking about? Me going, has anything good happened? I can't think of it. I fell in a bush. I got the fireworks just went off then. Thank you. It was a gun. I got the subscriber, what's it called? Shit the bed, what's it called? Congratulations, Sophie. You've got the community tab. Oh my gosh. Do you know what though? So you get it when you hit 500 subscribers. And I got 500 subscribers and I was like, where is it? It takes a week. Honestly, just making you wait. Every day I was checking it because it's up to a week. So I was like, well, up to, it could be day 2, couldn't it? I could get it tomorrow. So I was checking every day. No. And I was like, what? It's a bit of pressure because it's like, what do you post on there? What will be my first post? In the end, it was, In the end, it was a taco. What are you going to do? And yeah, so that was exciting. I was very excited. The minute I saw it pop up, I was just like, yes. And I love coming up here and I love you. And I was just so excited. It just was so nice. I think my next post will be, I'm not going to say. You can wait and see. Did I just rhyme the end of that? If I did, a rat-a-tat-tat. Stop it. I'm going. Fucking berries. I'm going to love you. I'm going to leave you. I'm so excited that I get to do this. I literally am beaming. Oh my God. I've just been so excited all week. Literally, I could cry. Right, I love you. Be good. And I shall see you next week. Bye.